And so all that we can do to help every generation think about technology is not a tool or gadget, but something that elevates and changes the learning for the children in our country.
Welcome back to another episode of the Powercast. We're here in San Antonio, Texas, ISTE 2025. My co-host, Ryan Imbriale, VP Group Sales. No, that's not it. Group, what is it?
Group Vice President,
Group
Education
Vice
Strategy.
There you go. Yeah, I think I should know that since he's my boss.
All the strategies right here.
And we have
Lots of them.
We have a very special guest, but I'm going to let you introduce because I'm not going to tell her what you said as the introduction before she was in earshot. So
don't worry. Don't worry.
Hey, I've heard it all
Yeah.
before, and he is the king of lies.
So go ahead, do the honors.
Yeah, okay. So look, I've been waiting for this all day.
Oh.
First of all, we're here at ISTE Live, and there are few people I think about when I think of edtech in this country and the names that immediately surface in what I have left of a brain.
Okay.
And I will tell you, the person sitting in between us is without question one of those names. Sheryl Abshire here is, and I'm not being...
You're not blowing smoke.
I'm not blowing smoke. Is a legend in the education space. And that's not lying. This woman has made a huge difference, in my opinion, for every single child in this country. And we'll talk a little bit about why that matters in a few minutes, Rick. But I mean that at the heart.
Okay.
I've been involved in this organization for years, ISTE. I've been attending and involved with COSIN for years. And Sheryl is somebody who is always in Washington, D.C.
Oh, bless your heart.
That's a tough place to always be. She's always in Washington, D.C., and she is there because it is about kids.
Okay.
And it is about what kids need. And so instead of just talking like this for the next 20 minutes, Sheryl, can you, in just a few minutes, I think this audience on this podcast needs to know a little bit about you. So can you tell your story while you're sitting here?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
It's our pleasure.
It's nice to meet this gentleman, and I said I've known Ryan since he was a young man and making an impact. So, let's share the wealth. Ryan's done a fair amount himself of doing incredible things in his school district, and now because of educational expertise here at Power School, helping the organization, the company really grow. So I began, like I think a lot of people in ed tech did, I began as a teacher. I was a library media specialist back in the day when there was no technology, and I discovered it. And I was like, wait, this is not going away. This isn't going to be a little workshop where we're going to little pamphlet, put it up on the shelf and turn the page and move on. And so I began to work with it as a librarian, became a school principal. By fortune or a little bit of fame, I was the first teacher that was inducted into the National Teachers Hall of Fame.
Wait, hold on. Tell that story. First of all, where are you a principal? Where were you a principal and educator?
In Lake Charles,
okay,
Louisiana.
That's important.
Down in the bayou.
Okay.
And so...
You don't hear that?
Oh, I hear it, but I just wanted to make sure everybody, usually I'm the one with the accent on the show, right? My Texas accent, so.
Yeah, down in the bayou in Louisiana in the Calcasieu Parish Schools, a really rich, diverse community that has supported me for 40-something years of my career. So was the first teacher inducted into the National Teachers Hall of Fame, named the Louisiana Technology Teacher of the Year, which was a catapult for me when nobody was talking about technology. So I had a little bit of a bully pulpit, was in the Rose Garden with President Clinton and Secretary Riley talking about me. And so that just kind of set things off for me professionally. In Louisiana, was moved into a principalship and wired the first 2 schools in Louisiana for the internet with coax. And people are like, what you going to do now? I said, you just back off. I know exactly what needs to happen. And started connecting kids around the world with the AT&T Learning Network back in the day, and realized that this is something that's going to really shift education on its axis.
Sure.
And then we weren't wired, we didn't have internet, and they were like, we got to get some of that.
Yeah.
We got to get us some of that internet. And so they created the position of Chief Technology Officer, and I thought, they don't want an educator, a teacher. And in my interviews, they said, that's exactly what we want. We want a leader. We can hire people that can, you know,
Yeah, no, the technical.
climb up in a rack. We can do all that, but we need somebody who can lead the district forward.
Okay.
And so for almost 25 years, I was CTO there. Retired and have been working with COSN, with ISTE, with other organizations to help, what I kind of say, pay it forward. I mean, I stand on the shoulders of many giants, and so all that we can do to help every generation think about technology is not a tool or a gadget, but something that elevates and changes the learning for the children in our country. And then with COSN, got really involved in advocacy. You talked about DC. I'm fairly proud of the FCC under President Obama's administration. I was appointed to the USAC board. So that gave me a real insight into the workings of the FCC and the funding source that, quite frankly, has funded telecommunications in our school since 1996.
So Sheryl, on that note, we are coming off just a few days ago a fairly significant decision by the United States Supreme Court. So can you tell us a little bit about what happened and why what this decision was matters for every child? I mean, rural hospitals, rural homes, everybody in this country. Can you talk a little bit about what just happened?
Well, I think a lot of people are not aware or knowledgeable of universal service, because here's the deal. My phone works. You know, they transmit, like you said, rural health care, you know, so I can call in, I can see a doctor, they can do a video conference. Hey, the schools have internet. Of course they have internet. This is 2025. We couldn't operate without that. But back in the day, the whole system was set up for universal service, and E-rate was funded through a teeny little charge on phone bills. That $2 or $3 that you see universal service, it's like, this is no big deal. So the interesting thing is that it is not a congressional appropriation. So people are like, well, the Congress going to fix this. Well, it's not a congressional appropriation. It's separate and apart, and the FCC manages the funding and transfers that authority to USAC, the Universal Services Administrative Corporation. Everything's gone on great. And then
For decades.
For decades. All the schools got wired. Everything's great. We as a nation just leapfrogged around every other country because of E-rate. And then came some questions about, do they really have authority? Does the FCC really have the authority to delegate that authority to USAC? And a court case. Well, being from Louisiana and Texas, the Fifth Circuit has a lot of interesting rulings. So when that case went to the Fifth Circuit, the three-judge panel says, of course they do, no problem. Several other district courts. Then they said, we're going to take it back to the whole Fifth Circuit. Questionable choices by those judges, but they said, we're going to pop it up to the Supreme Court. We think it's unconstitutional.
Wow.
Well, all of us in school districts around the country, and interestingly enough, in libraries, because every library in the country is also connected and funded through universal service. So we all waited with bated breath. I listened to all the oral arguments. Everybody was saying, hey, we did a good job. I think we got this. And I went, hey, we don't ever got this with the Supreme Court. So what people consider settled law, and I won't go into that because it gets a little controversial, but what people consider settled law, and the court said is settled law, has been shifting. So we were quite concerned. And Friday, the ruling came down that the FCC and USAC indeed have constitutional authority. So you know what? It was party time, and a lot of us were coming to ISTE, and the conversations that have been in this hallway have said, in fact, I posted on LinkedIn, I said, we won. For once, we won. And so that's the good news story that's been going on here, guys, because now it is settled. We've got a Supreme Court ruling on the constitutionality of it, and the wheels are going to keep turning, and the discounted services are going to keep flowing, and our kids are not going to be disconnected.
Well, I'm going to say thank you because I know how this works, and it doesn't work without champions and without voices who are willing to stand up and speak loudly. And if there's one thing I know about Sheryl Abshire, she's willing to stand up and speak loudly.
About the right things, for sure.
Indeed.
Ryan, for about the right things. My husband used to say, what is it that you won't ask for? Said, if it's for kids and it's legal, I'll ask for it. The legal part. I said, I'm going to ask for anything for kids, and if it's legal.
Can I throw a theory out there just to get your perspective on? So obviously AI is a hot topic everywhere, and
it's the two most popular letters in the alphabet.
There's no joke about that. And districts are trying to wrap their heads around it, not only policy but implementation, how they leverage the tools. Are they going to leverage the tools? And I'm a proponent of we should be introducing coursework into K-12 like yesterday for AI coursework. That's just my own personal belief. But we've always implemented technology in the frame of an elective or a frame of career and technology coursework. I'm of the belief that AI is more a core curriculum component similar to either a language requirement or something along the lines, because I don't see where a student, regardless of where they're coming from, they're going to have to leverage it some form or fashion. It cannot be relegated to this is an elective. This probably is going to be a core component of everything that they do from here on out, from probably freshmen in high school all the way to the rest of forever, as far as I can see. Am I off on that, or am I thinking about that the right way? Give me your perspective.
Absolutely. Well, I think you're pretty much on target. I like to view this as another tool, another piece of functionality in education. Nobody questioned, we're going to get some books. They're going to go, we're going to have books. AI is now embedded in the workplace, quite frankly, in the systems that we use in education. And so if we're going to future-proof our young people, and I like to say prepare them for the world in which they will live in rather than the archaic thinking.
And isn't that the hardest thing? Is our perspective. We transfer our perspective onto students.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Hey, and I was in school. Lord, it was good for me, so it'll be good for them. Well, again, the earth has shifted on its axis, and technology has raced ahead of thinking. Now, some people will say, I don't know about that AI. We don't want it to become sentient. We don't detect. I say, y'all need to quit watching all these, science fiction movies and turn off Netflix now, because no, it's not going to take over the world. But what it's going to do is enable teachers, administrators, staff, and students to function at a higher level. Because I truly believe that what AI does, it's another enabler. Mm-hmm. Now, they're talking, I heard Richard Collada, the CEO of ISTE, say during an opening session I was in on Saturday that, we worried about this cheating, we worried about this cheating. And the report that ISTE has issued that says something like above 50% of students, when they're surveyed, say, there's a lot of cheating going on. Well, with the introduction of AI, the numbers didn't change. So I like to say, if you got some cheating in your classroom, then you need to look at what your assignments are and what your assessments are. Because if you know that function, and if you understand assessment intimately, then you will create assessments that students cannot AI away the answers. So to me, it's a foregone conclusion. The horse is out of the gate. Let's go. So let's do what we need to do, as you said.
Yeah.
Let's get the right policies, procedures, functions in place. Let's talk, first of all, to our employees so they understand it. Let's embed it in their work. And then let's let children do what they're always supposed to do, is construct their own knowledge. My PhD work was done around constructivism and Vygotsky, and the richest learning experiences for young people is when they construct their own language, their own knowledge, and build it and teach others. So we're just a hair's breadth away from, let's get out of the way and let's let the tools of today educate our students for their tomorrow.
I don't know how, if you can say, I think you got to end it there. That's pretty powerful.
That's pretty powerful right there. I do have one other, Rick might have another question for you too, but I do have a question for you. Rumor has it, you have a book out.
Oh,
And
it is so true.
So this is
My
a great
heart be still,
opportunity.
Ryan.
This
My
is a
heart
great
be
opportunity. Rick and I would love to hear about the book you have out, who you've co-authored with, and why you chose to write a book.
Well, a lot of people say that, well, Sheryl, she can talk. She can talk.
When you say a lot of people, is that somebody that lives with you, or
well, that's all the people.
Because when people tell me that, it's usually somebody that lives at my house.
It's all the people. Okay. As Ron said, I've been doing this a long time, and there's not really a shy bone in my body. But fortunately, I've had the pleasure and the grace to work with a lot of very, very smart educators in this country. And three of the smartest ones are Diane Dorsch, Donna Williamson, and Frankie Jackson. And so we were at a meeting together, again, talking, and we may or may not have had a little bit of wine.
Okay.
May or may not. And
Good wine?
It's always
Is there any
good
other
wine.
kind? Is there any other kind?
Look, if you buy it and drink it, it's good sooner or later. Maybe not at the beginning, but at the end.
I love you even more.
So we started just talking about, kind of paying it forward. A new generation of tech leaders and ideas and concepts and mentoring that we had done, and how we'd coach people up in our districts and around the country. And we kind of flippantly said, we should write a book. And they were like, yeah, we should write a book. We woke up the next morning and said, we're going to write a book. So for a year, the four of us, this is so interesting. People are like, well, how do you write a book like that? I said, Zoom. We write a book on Zoom every Friday morning, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. We created chapters, lists, sections, assigned them to each other, began writing, and we are Google-licious in our book because everything was in Google Docs.
Sure.
And just pulled everything together. We edited our own work. We built the references, like I said, the chapters, the indexes, everything. And then we were like, okay, now we have a book. What do we do? Well, I've had a fair amount of activity and experiences with ISTE. And so I said, it's an edtech book, although quite frankly, it's a leadership book. It's the savvy edtech leader, but it's a leadership book. And so I reached out to the publishing team there, and they said, well, let us take a look. They sent it around, in record time, because they emailed us back and went, we have contracts for you. We want the book. Now, that's a source of great pride to us, because a lot of people said, well, you're going to get an editor, and they're going to change this chapter, and then you may have to send it here, and you may have to sue it there. We didn't get edited. And so that's kind of a real source of pride to us, that the words that we wrote and that we had been speaking for years, around the country resonated with the people, our tribe. And so the book was published, and it's going to be here. It is available on Amazon and at the ISTE bookstore, and it's the Savvy EdTech Leader. And so people now, we laugh about it, they call us the Savvy Sisters.
Well,
and I said, well, we've been called worse.
well, will you sign my copy?
It would be a blessing and an honor to sign it. And I will write nice things, Ryan.
Well, thank you.
You're
Rick,
so
I
welcome.
could talk to Sheryl forever. So,
Well, I mean, all right, let me throw one more. I promise, the last one. I
Okay,
promise.
it's okay.
Okay. We talked a little bit about AI and the pushback on is it cheating? How are kids using it? Are they not using it in the way we feel like they should? Shouldn't we be thinking about, well, if that's the case, all of our assessment, all of our instructional practices should be centered on helping kids develop the right questions to ask, right? Because if they have the answers, well, then what's the skill? Right? If they have access to answers at their fingertips, isn't the skill now they have to be precise in how they ask the question, what the follow-up looks like to get to whatever the end result is that may be generated for them? Am I off there? Am I like?
No, I think you're on target. And here's the other thing. I think our kids, I've done a lot of. My first degree was in early childhood education, and a lot of the research around there says kids love learning. They're very happy. I taught kindergarten, taught second grade, taught fourth grade. I was an elementary principal. Something happens to our children as they move.
We happen to them.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say that. As children move through our educational system, they lose a little bit of their love.
The joy of curiosity.
Exactly
they lose
right.
The joy of curiosity.
They lose that, and so I think if we step back, and I don't think we have to teach questionings. I think we have to step back and allow questioning, and all of the work I've done, the research I've done, tells me when a teacher, wait time, all the stuff we learned in class, and to push forward to give young people topics and opportunities to do that work, I think it's a skill they'll develop. Do we need to coach them along the way?
Sure.
Absolutely. Questioning and prompt writing. I mean, you can take a whole course at MIT. I keep getting those on my Facebook page and LinkedIn. MIT course, learn how to write a prompt, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I need that course, but I think that we can help young people learn how to question more distinctly, more efficiently. But sometimes you just have to do something and get better at it.
Right, you got to go fail.
Hey, I know the work that I've done in AI. A year ago, I was like, oh, Lord, that really wasn't good. So I look back at some of the things and I'm like, I got better the more I've worked with those tools and written those prompts and asked the right questions. So I think it's a matter of us giving students the opportunity, us taking the responsibility to say, we've got to move forward now. We can't, the people are like, oh, don't rock the boat. I'm going to tell you something. The boat's been rocked.
Oh, yeah.
We better put on our life vest.
There's a tsunami coming if we're not ready.
And we need to pay attention to this, or I'm a public school girl, or we'll become irrelevant.
There's no question.
We cannot afford to do that to build the kind of democracy in the country that we want to maintain.
There is no question. I think we got to leave it there. I mean,
I know. I do.
One in a million, Dr. Sheryl Abshire. Is my pleasure. I don't think I have any network in Louisiana. It makes me feel good to, your southern roots, and now you're living not too far down the block from me.
Well, it's better in the bayou.
Is it? I don't know if I'd go
Sheryl,
that far.
thank you.
Come on now.
Sheryl, thank you so much for being with us.
You are welcome. It's my pleasure. And the work that y'all are doing here at Power School is making a difference, gentlemen.
Join us on the next episode. You heard it here first. See you again on the Powercast.